Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Champion 2D Rob back again, and in this video we'll be doing my Switch pickups. So all the Switch games I've picked up now for the last few months. So this is an update video essentially. Before we get into that, I thought I would talk a little bit about my time with the Switch. Now I like to sort of give you guys keep you up to date with my thoughts and feelings on the system as I sort of go through with a brand new selection of games. And I must admit, the last couple of months I haven't been gaming much on the Switch. I haven't really been gaming much at all, to be perfectly honest. I've just been trying to catch up on my TV shows and films and whatnot. So I've just sort of been working through my backlog when it comes to that. But of course the games they keep coming in because I'm stupid like that. Yeah, so essentially these are all sort of games that I will get around to playing. Obviously, I have played a couple of them. I'll sort of speak about each game individually. I have been playing a few of them briefly, but for the most part, gaming just hasn't really been the focus for the last couple of months. But I have been picking up, of course, as you will see. I do have more games coming. Most of the games that I've bought are all currently in pre-order via, all these sort of specialist online companies. So your limited runs, Strictly Limiteds and whatnot. I've amassed like a good load. I mean, I could really just stop buying for the Switch now, and I'll still have a steady stream of games coming in for the next for a solid 6 months or so. But I will say this though. I mean, like, aside from maybe the last couple of months, I have been playing on my Switch. Mostly a lot of sort of pick up and play sort of stuff, which is kind of what I want my Switch for, really. And it's been fun. I still enjoy the system a lot. I love picking up for it. I hesitate to say collect because collect sort of insinuates that I buy everything, and that's not really the case. I am very selective with what I buy. It has to be stuff that I genuinely have an interest in. It is, I won't lie, like there is of course a collecting aspect to it. And the Switch is basically my system of choice at the moment. I don't enjoy collecting for the PS4. I like to buy games for it, but I like to buy games I'm going to play. So I don't actually want to amass like a bunch of PS4 games. I mean, I've got a lot of PS4 games anyway, but I don't have that same kind of joy. And I guess it really just comes down to the format. I think it's because I'm really all about cartridges, to be honest. I understand the need for discs and the benefits they bring, but I'm glad that we're at a point now where we can have these I don't really know what to call them, the game cards of the Switch. They can store a lot of information, so while they may not be able to pack in as much as a Blu-ray disc, but they do a lot. And I just kind of prefer that kind of, I mean, call them what you want, but I call them cartridges. I like that format better than discs. I really don't like discs. I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it, but I just don't like discs, and I guess that's kind of why I enjoy picking up for the Switch. I was kind of the same way, and I know what some people are going to say here, but when I was collecting for PSP, those UMD discs, even though they were still discs, the way they were sort of contained within the hard shell still kind of made them seem like cartridges to me. So I don't know, that's just how my mind works. Although I didn't pick up a Vita, but I did like the fact that the Vita moved on to little cards as well. But yeah, that's really why I prefer the Switch in that sense, because of that. It's really just down to the media format. It's just my preference. I'm old school like that. Anyway, moving on, guys. So we're going to start with all the pickups I've bought now since before Christmas. Actually, I think we'll start with the game that I actually got for Christmas. This was actually given to me as a gift, and it was actually one that I asked for. So I actually did want to give this a go, and that is the 51 games, the 51 worldwide games. Now, why did I want to have this? I mean, there's loads of games on here. I mean, you've got like chess, checkers, and you've got mahjong. You've got loads of other games on here. But the reason why I wanted it really was just for Connect 4. And I saw that it had like a Connect 4 game in here, and I have to explain that when I was a kid, like I loved Connect 4 for some reason. Like I was addicted to it. Like I took it everywhere with me. Like if I travelled abroad, I would take my Connect 4 with me. And I just loved playing against people. I was just a big fan of it. And this, you can play it digitally, and you can also play like sort of local co-op with people, and it works really well on the Switch. It just works really well, and I just enjoy it. I enjoy playing it with family and friends, and it's just something I like to bring out. If I've got someone over, I like to play this with them. It's just fun. It works really well, and it's just one of them ones I want to have. I know on the surface this might feel like shovelware, but generally, like I do play a lot on this. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. All right, next up, and this is going to be an obvious one. I was very excited when they announced this game. I really was. It was probably my number one game that I wanted ported over from the Wii U. And that game is, of course, Super Mario 3D World. Now, this was the game I was hoping they would put out. I'm so glad they did, but they went above and beyond. I mean, they added the Bowser's Fury, which is basically a whole game in and of itself, added onto this. And well, I've yet to play Bowser's Fury, so I can't really give my thoughts on it. But this is just fantastic. Like it's very much like a 3D Land on the 3DS, and I loved that game. I really did. So I remember when this first came out for the Wii U, I was a little bit annoyed because I really wanted to play it, but I wasn't fully convinced with the Wii U. It was just I just held off, and sure enough, it flopped. But I'm glad that this actually got a port, and I know there are a lot of people out there that bemoan the fact that they're just putting over a load of Wii U games onto the Switch. But because obviously I didn't own a Wii U, I'm very happy that these games are getting ported over, and I'm glad that I finally got the one that I wanted. Now, this also came with a admittedly very nice steelbook. Really nice steelbook. I actually, when I bought this, because I bought it from the Nintendo store, thinking that the steelbook wasn't exclusive to the Nintendo store, only to find out after the fact that it wasn't. But it's cool. I don't mind ordering from Nintendo store, but usually if it's not like, if there aren't any real exclusives, then I just order off Amazon. But good to have. Really, really happy with this one. Next title I have here, and this is actually my most recent pickup. It only just came in yesterday, and that is Dead or School, and this is like a 2.5D hack and slash Metroidvania action game. And I was sort of on the fence from picking this game up for a long time. I actually, the reason why I decided to buy it was because I saw it had dropped down to a price. It was like less than £20. I believe it was around 18 quid, brand new. And I decided to jump on it. And I just wasn't too sure about this game. I mean, I'm not really into the sort of big-bosomed Japanese cartoon anime kind of characters. It's just not my cup of tea. But I do like my 2D games, my 2.5D games, and I've heard some good stuff about this game. The reviews for it are quite favourable, and it looks quite cool. So I thought I would check it out. Next one I have here, and that is Cobra Kai the Karate Kid saga continues. And initially, I was not going to buy this. I mean, I just sort of took it as a cheap cash in. But my mate Lee, the retro chef, he picked this up a little while ago, and he said it was actually pretty decent. So on his word, I thought I would give it a chance, and it dropped to a price I was willing to pay for it. I can't quite remember what I paid for this. I think it might have been £25. I'm not too sure. But I was worried because I got to admit that graphically it doesn't really appeal to me. But I'll be honest with you, when it comes to beat 'em ups, what really matters to me is gameplay and controls. Like, that's what really matters to me. I don't care how pretty a game is in a beat 'em up. Like, if the controls don't work, game has failed in my eyes. And you know what? This game is actually pretty decent. It's not amazing. This is not Streets of Rage 4. You know, I mean, I would say, look, if you're looking for a beat 'em up, you know, I would say try some of the others first. Like, you know, I would recommend Streets of Rage 4, Fight and Rage, or The Takeover. I would recommend those games first. But this is actually quite a decent one. It plays surprisingly well. It's a bit rough around the edges, and it's not the prettiest game in the world, but it plays decently enough. Like, there's nothing really bad, nothing really wrong with it. It's quite solid, and there are actually interactive environments as well, so you can actually throw people into pinball machines and stuff like that, which is actually really quite cool. Yeah, it works really well, so I'm actually quite chuffed that this turned out to be a decent little game. Because but what I will say though is just wait for it to get a price drop. Don't pay 30 quid for it. Don't pay more than, you know, wait till it's under 30 before you pick it up. But yeah, it's a decent little game. Quite a surprise. Next one I have here is Kunio-kun The World Classics Collection. And I bought this, I think I bought this in January. I think I might have ordered it in December, but it arrived in January. And this is basically the compilation of all the sort of Kunio-kun games. So it's got like River City Ransom. It also has the 3 Double Dragon games on here as well, and various other sort of Kunio-kun type games. So you've got like the what's it called, Super Dodgeball, and it's got a couple of other sort of games as well. Now I decided to go for the Asian Hong Kong release because this has not received a physical release here in Europe, but I wanted specifically the Hong Kong release over the Japanese release, just basically for the English text on the front of the box. It's a trivial thing. I mean, you know, even if you get the Japanese version, within the game itself, it's exactly the same. But I wanted the Asian release specifically for the English text on the box. And this version is actually becoming trickier and trickier to get now. I don't see it as much. I mean, you'll see the Japanese version all day long. But the Hong Kong release is getting a little bit harder to find. So I thought I would snap it up as soon as. But it's a decent compilation. You know, gives me a chance to play a bit more Double Dragon. How you doing, Cinny Steve? Anyway. Yeah, it's a decent collection. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you like your old 8-bit side-scrolling beat 'em ups. It's definitely worth a go, because I'll say this now: River City Ransom is a great little NES beat 'em up. Really fun game. That game came out in the UK. It was known as Street Gangs, but most people know it as River City Ransom. And yeah, really good fun. So this is a great collection to have, especially if you like your beat 'em ups. Okay, my games are falling off here. Next game I have here is Inertial Drift, my first racing game for the Switch. Now I have one downloaded. I've got what is it called, Horizon Chase Turbo, which is a fantastic game. I'm actually seriously considering buying a physical of that, because I downloaded it because I wasn't too sure, but I ended up loving that game. Really good game. Definitely check out Horizon Chase Turbo, But yeah, so what I've got here is Inertial Drift, and this is a very interesting game because you don't actually use any of the buttons. You use the thumbsticks to maneuver. So you use the left thumbstick to steer, and you use the oh wait, yeah, something like that, and the right thumbstick to drift. So it's like sorry, it's the left thumbstick to accelerate and decelerate, and the right thumbstick to turn, but you also drift. And it's a really, I'll say in theory it's a novel sort of idea to do, but in practice it's actually very hard. I've struggled with this racing game. It really is. It takes a lot of patience because the thumbsticks are very sensitive, and just a slight movement will just send your car veering off course and crashing into a wall. So it can be very frustrating. It's definitely a fun title, but it can be a very frustrating title as well. And I'll definitely say this is not for people with short tempers. People that struggle with controls and stuff, like I would say stay away from this one. But for me, it's actually quite a cool racing game, and it's got really nice graphics as well. I really do appreciate the graphics. It's old school in nature as well. It's very much like Horizon Chase Turbo in that sense. Not quite the same style, but it's old school in nature. But yeah, the controls are really what makes this the game that it is. But I don't know. I think for some people it'll be a love or hate game. I think this one. So that's Inertial Drift. And the next title I've got is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And I have Ori and the Blind Forest digitally, which is the first game in the series, and I've yet to really play it properly. But when they kind of announced they were going to put out these games physically, I definitely jumped and got the sequel straight away. I will probably get the first game physically as well at some point, maybe. But for now, I just wanted the sequel. From what I've played of the first game, it is a really cool sort of 2D Metroidvania-esque game with beautiful graphics. This is one of those games that started off as an Xbox exclusive, but it seems Microsoft of late is passing over some of their smaller indie titles, exclusives to the Switch, which is great because at the moment we've got Cuphead, which is available digitally, and we've got this now, and I think there might be something else. I'm not too sure, but it's great. It's great for us Switch fans to have some of these Xbox exclusives. So yeah, this is a really cool game from what I've seen. The first game from what I've played of it is really cool. It's for lovers of that 2D Metroidvania style of games. It's definitely one to pick up. This is definitely probably one of the better series to get in that genre. And next game I have here, and this is actually a title that was recommended to me by Dylan, Hyper Trigger EX. He was the one that actually sent me a video of this game, and initially I will admit I dismissed the game. I don't know what it was. I just sort of thought, oh, you know, it's another 2D Metroidvania game with, you know, whatever. But after I saw that video, I kept coming across footage of it at various points on YouTube, and I just decided to watch it more and more. And the more I saw of it, the more I liked. And yeah, eventually I just had to pick it up, really. So this is definitely a shout out to Dylan, Hyper Trigger EX, because it was really him that put me onto this game, and it is a really cool game. I look forward to checking this one out, and that is Kunai. So like I said, this is a 2D action platformer Metroidvania style game. It's got some really nice 2D visuals. It's got some very cool sort of unique character designs, really cool visual style to it, and that's really what appeals to me with a lot of these games. It's really about the visuals, because obviously gameplay and whatnot, but like because there's so many sort of these 2D Metroidvania games, what I tend to look for is what the art style, does it grab me, does it pull me in? Because some of them can look very generic to me, so I prefer the ones that do kind of stand out, do have like amazing pixel art, or just have a really cool design to them that's going to draw me in. And this definitely has that. And I've got to say, I love the slipcover on this, and I love the artwork. It just looks so cool. So if you are looking for a game in the Metroidvania genre, definitely give Kunai a look. Really, really cool game. Next game I have here is Agelos. So I picked this up because I remember when this game originally came out, it was like super cheap. It was like £12, something like that when it initially came out. And I ignored it. Because of the price, really, I kind of figured it was like a throwaway, a throwaway title, really, a shovelware game. Turns out it's not. It's actually a pretty good game if you're into like your Wonder Boy titles, your action platformers. And this game like shot up in price. Like it really went up in price, especially on the Switch. And I saw it on Amazon, and it was at a price that was pretty good. It's sort of like a cheap, like I won't say cheap. It was about £28, which, given what it was going for online generally, is actually a very low price. So I just snapped it up. I just didn't think about it. I just went and bought it because I'd rather get it now than later on, just kicking myself. So glad to get it now. I've heard a lot of good things about this game. I've also heard it's actually quite difficult as well, especially towards the end. It's pretty hard. So, but I'm glad I've got it out of the way now. It's a really cool title. I do like the visual style, admittedly. So hopefully it's as fun. And the next game here is Gekido Kintaro's Revenge. Now, I went back and forth on whether I wanted to pick this up, and the reason why is because this is actually a remake of a Game Boy Advance game, and I actually have that game. I own it boxed and complete. I've had it for a long time now, and I didn't think that the remake offered enough to warrant a second purchase, although it does add a cool 2-player local co-op mode, which I think is great. This game in essence is a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up, but it doesn't play like a conventional beat 'em up. It is non-linear. There is like backtracking, and you have to find keys. You go into houses, and then you sort of find hidden compartments that lead to other areas and stuff. So it's non-linear, but it is like a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's not that great of a game in certain aspects because there's a lot of cheap deaths in this game, I will have to say, and they didn't improve that really for the Switch release. And even though my copy is sealed, I actually had this game digitally a long time ago. It was actually one of the first games I downloaded for my Switch, but I opted to get it physically just because I'm sort of trying to pick up the 2D beat 'em ups, the ones that just really appeal to me, and this one does appeal to me. One of the best things for me about this game is the visual style to it. Like, I do really like the 2D sprites. They look amazing. Like, it's some of my favorite 2D sprite work at the moment. It's definitely on this. Gameplay's solid, it works. I mean, the only thing I can really say is that I think some of the characters, like, they can knock you down quite easily, and it can be quite slow to respond at times, but overall the gameplay is solid. It's really down to the level layouts. I find that there's a lot of like traps and like sort of booby traps that sort of appear, and sometimes they just come out of nowhere, and it can be just trial and error to get through the stages. But it's not like overtly difficult. It's not frustrating in that aspect. It's just more of certain traps just come out of nowhere, and once you know where they are, you'll breeze through. But it is really just trial and error. But it's not necessarily difficult the way like an old school game is difficult, But I just really wanted it for the collection. I have it digitally already, but it's just nice to have it physically. And I like the fact that they, at the very least, added a 2-player co-op to it, so that's great at least. And finally, I picked this up, and I'm really happy to get it because I was actually quite upset I missed out on it when it was initially up for pre-order, so I did have to pay over the odds for this. And I went back and forth, and through my hesitation waiting, the price just kept going up on it, so I had to pull the trigger on it as soon as I could. And what I picked up was the Samurai Showdown Collector's Edition for the Switch. Now, this is the most recent Samurai Showdown game that came out on current consoles. I actually already have it on the PS4, so I wasn't really in a rush to get this, which is, I guess it's why I hesitated, but I am going to explain why I picked this up. But yeah, so it's essentially I'll show you what the contents are for this. So I'll say, first of all, I paid 200 quid for this, and yeah, it was a lot of money, but recently I'd sold a few high value games, so I basically put some of that money towards getting this, and it was frustrating because this was like a £60 game initially on pre-order, and obviously you know how it is, like, but once the pre-order system is done, it gets on eBay, the price goes up, and it was basically sitting on £120 brand new and sealed on eBay. And I had the chance to pick it up then, hesitated, didn't buy it. Eventually, when I decided to buy it, someone went and bought it. There was a few others, but they were like going for like much higher prices. Then I saw one pop up on an auction, and I lost out on the auction. So there was one more, it was a buy it now, and it was 200 quid. And in hindsight, I'm glad I picked it up, because since I bought my copy, I've not seen many copies go up, especially like for less than 200. It just, like, you don't see them now, and at least brand new. I think we're at a stage where the ones that will probably show up in the future will be used copies. So I decided to just bite the bullet and pick it up. But I'll explain why I picked it up, even though I have this game already on PS4. So obviously it comes in the Neo Geo shop box. Then of course you've got the game itself. And then you get, like, which is obligatory most of these things, you get the art book, a really nice art book, I will say. The other art book that came in the Samurai Showdown collection is fantastic, really well made. I mean, this is good quality paper, really nice, really colourful. I'll just show you some pictures quickly. It's got some really nice artwork here, really colourful stuff, great quality. And I have to say as well, and I've said this before, is that the art books for the Samurai Showdown games definitely mean a lot more to me compared to other art books you get in other games. And the reason for that is because when I was a kid, and I've said this story before, but I'll just say it again. When I was a kid, I used to like drawing Samurai Showdown characters, and I would basically copy images freehand and try to draw them. So I'd have, like, let me just show you a picture here of Galford, and I'd like this guy here. This is actually the image right here that I would draw freehand. So I really liked drawing Samurai Showdown characters when I was a kid. So these Samurai Showdown art books definitely mean a lot more to me than the average art book that you get in other games. But the real reason why I wanted to pick up that collection, and it was basically for this, and the reason why is because this is not available physical in any other place. You can only get it at the moment with this collection, and that is Samurai Showdown 2 Pocket Fighting Series. So this is basically Samurai Showdown 2 for the Neo Geo Pocket, And lately they've been releasing various Neo Geo Pocket fighting games digitally on the Nintendo Switch. And I have heard talk that there might be a compilation, physical compilation, coming soon, hopefully. But at the moment, this is the only physical version of any of those games available physically for the Switch, and it was only available in this collection. I did try to seek this out on its own. I looked up and down on eBay. No one was selling it by itself, only with the collection. So I decided to bite the bullet, and yeah, like I say, it was really just to pick up this title. Don't get me wrong, you know, obviously the game itself is fantastic. I love playing it on PS4, but that's really where I play it on. It's mostly on PS4, so I don't really need to play it for the Switch. But I'm glad to have it anyway, because I do like the shop box, and I'm just glad to get this as well. So this is definitely something I really wanted for the collection. So that is it, guys. That is basically all my pickups for the Switch of the last few months. Please let me know what you guys think. Is there any games there that caught your eyes? What have you guys been picking up? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and of course please leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. I always do appreciate that, guys. It does mean a lot. It does help my channel a lot. And I will be back very soon, guys, with another video. I won't leave it too long, so stay tuned, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.